Why do you always win at cards?
Because I cheat, kitten. This trinket, it's elven, isn't it? From your clan. Don't bet anything you're not prepared to lose. Here, have it back.
Oh, that was sweet.
A jigger of your finest whiskey for my friend over here. The hanged man's finest isn't much, but it'll get you just as drunk as anything you'll find in Hightown.
And you'll wake up and find someone stolen your trousers.
That's when you know it's a party. I thought I'd have to watch myself around you, but as it turns out, you're all right.
What do you mean I'm all right?
You don't judge people. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty. You know, little things like that. If I had someone like you on board my ship when the storm hit, maybe we wouldn't have been shipwrecked.
No, there's nothing suspicious about that little pause in her speech, is it?
Maybe you would have been shipwrecked sooner. I'm a terrible sailor.
Are you? I suppose I'll have to keel haul you till you shape up.
Whoa, okay, got a lot of friendship there. Just shooting the breeze with Isabella. Where are we now? Oh yeah, we're getting pretty close here. Speaking of which, she has some leveling to do. Might as well just go ahead and do that. Let's see. 2. Okay. Abilities. Let's give her some of her specialized stuff. Ooh, big critical damage bonus. I like that. Really good for rogues. Okay, that was everything for Isabella. And we just saw Meryl there, so why don't we go check out her place next? I'm gonna cough just a second. Pardon me. And yes, we can talk to her. Let's see what she's been up to these last 3 years.
Have you heard from your sister? Is she settling in all right with the circle?
I thought you and Bethany didn't get along. Why are you worrying over her?
I'd be terrified in her shoes, surrounded by strangers, watched all the time. We didn't always agree, but she's a sweet girl. I would never wish that fate on anyone.
We didn't actually see a lot of their disagreements because they weren't together in the party that often, but of course, Bethany doesn't believe mages should be consorting with demons, so that's where the disagreement basically was.
I haven't heard from her.
I'm sure she's fine. She's strong. If anyone can get through this, she can. Don't blame yourself.
Interesting that they put in that dialogue choice, because of course they have the letter from her. So I didn't actually know that that's what she was going to say, because that doesn't quite make sense from what we've seen. Oh well, little story hiccup there.
If I'd gotten home sooner, she might still be free.
Once the Templars knew, nothing you could have done would have saved her. Things will be all right. Somehow.
Oh, always the optimist, Miss Meryl. Even when it comes to consorting with demons. And this is new. We're going to find out about this later. This appearing in her little hut here. But, of course, if you played the first game with the Dalish Elf origin, you already know what that is. Okay, let's go with Anders next. I actually misspoke, and someone corrected me in the comments. I had said that there was no way to go to Anders' clinic directly, but there is, because there is a little symbol on the map. So, that was my bad. There he is.
Don't come running to me next time you pick up one of these diseases.
Isn't that the point of magic?
I don't want to know.
things just keep getting worse. I had Templars practically on my doorstep the other night.
The Templars are hunting you.
Not me specifically. They were just checking the refugee camps. But it's not like this place is a secret. It's only a matter of time.
I can't say you've been keeping a low profile.
The Knight Commander is out of control. Even her own people have been talking about it. The curfews, the midnight raids on mages' families. Everyone I know forced into hiding so they won't be made tranquil.
Is that making it harder for you? With justice?
In the Fade, there is no time. Emotion rules everything. Justice doesn't know how to sit idle until the right moment to strike. And I can't say I have any greater patience. I fear what my anger has made of my friend.
You chose to merge with him. Only you can make it work.
I am trying. I have not attacked the Templars openly. I've helped the mages here as best I can, but this impasse cannot last. One day, everyone in Kirk will have to choose a side.
Foreshadowing. How are we with Anders right now? Yeah, we're kind of still middle of the road. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just kind of spread everything out there. Yeah, my guess is that pretty much everyone we didn't take in the deep roads has already leveled here, so... Or had enough experience to level, so that we need to do this to kind of sort everything out. Okay, so... Next up on the list... Oh, more ingredients here. Sorry, that was a sneeze. I'm just not at my best health right now. Again, my apologies. Let's see, who's left? I'm trying to remember. I want to do Fenris last, since he's going to be the romantic interest. I think that is everybody then. Yeah, I think that is everyone. Alright, so we're going to finish talking with Fenris here, and then we're going to start actually doing some quests. Place is still a mess. He hasn't done any cleaning here in 3 years. Come on, Fenris. Here's Mr. Brooding himself. How you doing?
So the Seneschal's tax collector won't be coming around again like you asked. Funny story.
I'll pass, but thank you for the help.
Spoil sport. Why you want to squat up here in Hightown is beyond me.
I like the view.
So do I.
Hmm.
3 years. There's still no sign of Denarius. I'm beginning to wonder if he's finally given up.
This is his mansion, isn't it? He must know you're here.
Would you be surprised to learn that it isn't, in fact, his mansion? It belongs to a Tevinter merchant, one who has evidently given up on the place. Perhaps he is dead. Perhaps Denarius killed him. Either way, if Denarius is aware of my presence, he has done nothing.
Isn't this what you wanted?
Yes, but... Tell me, what do you do when you stop running?
You start over. Isn't that what you want?
I don't know how. My first memory is receiving these markings. The lyrium being branded into my flesh. The agony wiped away everything. Whatever life I had before I became a slave, it's lost. I shouldn't trouble you with this. My problems are not yours.
I might be able to help with your problems. Or give you a few more.
More problems than you normally do, I assume. You're a beautiful woman, Hawke. Is there no one else who has your attention?
I didn't quite catch that first part.
I don't need to repeat the obvious, I'm certain. I'm an escaped slave and an elf living in a borrowed mansion. None of those things bother you.
Why do you think that would bother me?
You are not most people, clearly. You raise an interesting point. I'll have to consider it.
Interesting way of putting it, Fenris. Alright, so now we are actually going to get the last member of our party, which we could not get in Act 1, but now we will get in Act 2. So with that said, as you can see, Bethany is still considered a member of the party, but is currently not selectable, since she cannot leave the circle. I'm going to take Varric, and let's see. Take Meryl as the mage. And, oh, what the heck, let's take Fenris as our warrior. Now, of course, this is the same party we had in the Deep Roads, but there's actually there's some story reasons I want to take them on this first quest. And just like before, as we change quests, I'm going to shuffle people around. So we won't always have the same people in our party. And let me put on, let's see, 26 armor. Uh, 106. 106. Is this what I want? That's what I had before. Let's go with that one. That's about the same amount of armor there. And this gives me bonus to lockpicking. And yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I thought I was spending a little bit too much time in the previous act doing a lot of buying stuff and changing equipment on screen, so I'm going to push more of that off camera in between recordings, just to make things less boring for you guys. Alright, so we're going to go to the Chantry to do a quest called Repentance.
We're here to serve the maker. You've never come to the alienage, Fenris.
I don't live in the alienage.
Don't you care about the plight of our people? Not even a little bit.
I don't need to visit the alienage to know what they suffer. I know it better than you.
I've lived there for years. I see it firsthand.
And I lived it.
We're going to have a pity party here between the two of them. Okay, that's cordoned off. Still can't go upstairs there. Okay, nothing there.
Forgive me, Your Grace.
Forgiveness for a sin you committed in full knowledge. The Maker blessed us with minds and a conscience. He does not approve when we fail to use them.
I'm sorry.
I'm not the one you wronged.
So that we just overheard is Sebastian talking with the head of the Chantry here. But there's one... okay, so this is one of these tomes that you can either keep or destroy. And of course, with our Hawke's personality, she'll probably be more likely to destroy them. Yep, you found one of Tyrone's books. The pages are filled with secrets of blood magic. You feel a stirring of power as you look upon it. Yeah, we better take that out. So somehow she destroys the book. And demons appear in the middle of the Chantry. How scandalous. There's a desire demon. It's never... The enemies that appear are never, super hard or anything like that. At least I've not encountered any that are the really particularly hard fights, even on harder difficulties. You have Par Volin, the occupied north. This is where the Qunari are hanging out in the known lands of Thedas at this point. The Qunari homeland is actually outside the area of the map that the game has presented so far. So we've never actually seen any representation of their homeland at all. This is just where they first invaded. In the 30th year of the Steel Age, the first Qunari ships were sighted off the coast of Par Volin in the far north, marking the beginning of a new age of warfare. History calls this the First Qunari War, but it was mostly a one-sided bloodbath, with the Qunari advancing far into the mainland. Qunari warriors in glittering steel armor carved through armies with ease. Their cannons, the likes of which our ancestors had never seen, reduced city walls to rubble in a matter of seconds. Stories of the Qunari occupation vary greatly. It is said they dismantled families and sent captives to, quote, learning camps for indoctrination into their religion. Those who refused to cooperate disappeared to mines or construction camps. For every tale of suffering, however, there is another of enlightenment, deriving from something called the Qun. This is either a philosophical code or a written text that governs all aspects of Qunari life, perhaps both. One converted Seheran reported pity for those who refused to embrace the Qun, as if the conquerors had led him to a sort of self-discovery. Quote, "For all my life I followed the Maker, wherever his path led me," he wrote. "But in the Qun I have found the means to travel my own path." It has been said that the most complete way to wipe out a people is not with blades, but with books. Thankfully, a world that has repelled 4 blights would not easily bow to a foreign aggressor, and so the exultant marches began. The greatest advantage of the Chantry-led forces was the Circle of Magi. For all their technology, the Qunari appeared to harbor great hatred of magic. Faced with cannons, the Chantry responded with lightning and balls of fire. The Qunari armies lacked the sheer numbers of humanity. So when the slain at Myrnos Pel on both sides, so many were slain on both sides that the veil is said to have been permanently sundered, the ruins still plagued with restless corpses. But each year the Chantry pushed further and further into the Qunari lines, although local converts to the Qun proved difficult to return to Andraste's teachings. By the end of the Storm Age, the Qunari were truly pushed back. Ravain was the only human land that retained the Qunari religion after being freed, and its rulers attempted to barter a peace. Most human lands signed the Lomarin Accord, excepting the Tevinter Imperium. It is a shaky peace that has lasted to this day. By Sister Petrine, Chantry scholar. Not to be confused with Sister Patrice, who is the anti-Qunari person that we met with in Act 1. Got some money from killing the demons. Got another blade. I need to give some of these blades to Isabella. I think that's it for the odds and ends around the Chantry here. Oh, one more thing here. The Enigma of Kirkwall. We've already seen some initial volumes of this. Ironically, the Chantry has the best records on the Imperium occupation that we found. None of the forbidden texts, which have undoubtedly been destroyed, but many administrative records. In their cold-numbered rows, misery is told. Thousands of slaves passed through the gallows to work the mines or to be shipped elsewhere. The list of elven children is numbing. 3 maimed, 2 mute, and 4 serviceable. These numbers don't add up. For every 1,000 slaves that came to Kirkwall, 100 disappeared. I checked the tax rolls as well, and the discrepancy exists there too. if one has wit to see it. 203 slaves went missing in the Imperium's 312th year. That's just 1 year. Other records show similar discrepancies. Over centuries, practically a whole civilization of slaves simply disappeared, hidden inside the cover of a book with curious marks and signed the Band of Three. So something's going on there as far as the Tevinter Imperium does not strike me as a organization that would not keep good records. So that is actually kind of suspicious. Last thing here, and then we should be able to talk to the people up there on the dais. This makes sense that it's here. Andraste, bride of the Maker. There was once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by the Tevinter Imperium, which enslaved the villagers to be sold in the markets of Minrathous, leaving behind only the old and the infirm. One of the captives was the child Andraste. She was raised in slavery in a foreign land. She escaped, then made the long and treacherous journey back to her homeland alone. She rose from nothing to be the wife of an Alamari warlord. Each day she sang to the gods, asking them to help her people who remained slaves in Tevinter. The false gods of the mountains and the winds did not answer her, but the true God did. The Maker spoke. He showed her all the works of his hands, the Fade, the world, and all the creatures therein. He showed her how men had forgotten him, lavishing devotion upon mute idols and demons, and now he had left them to their fate. But her voice had reached him, and so captivated him that he offered her a place at his side, that she may rule all of creation. But Andraste would not forsake her people. She begged the Maker to return, to save his children from the cruelty of the Imperium. Reluctantly, the Maker agreed to give man another chance. Andraste went back to her husband, Mafaroth, and told him all that the Maker had revealed to her. Together they rallied the Alamari, and marched forth against the mage lords of the Imperium, and the Maker was with them. The Maker's sword was creation itself, fire and flood, famine and earthquake. Everywhere they went, Andraste sang to the people of the Maker, and they heard her. The ranks of Andraste's followers grew until they were a vast tide washing over the Imperium. And when Mafaroth saw that the people loved Andraste and not him, a worm grew within his heart, gnawing upon it. At last the armies of Andraste and Mafaroth stood before the very gates of Minrathous, but Andraste was not with them, for Mafaroth had schemed in secret to hand Andraste over to the Tevinter. For this, the Archon would give Mafaroth all the lands to the south of the waking sea. And so, before all the armies of the Alamari and of Tevinter, Andraste was tied to a stake and burned, while her earthly husband turned his armies aside and did nothing, for his heart had been devoured. But as he watched the pyre, the Archon softened. He took pity on Andraste and drew his sword, and granted her the mercy of a quick death. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Mafaroth, cursed mankind for their betrayal, and turned once again from creation, taking only Andraste with him. And Our Lady sits still at his side, where she still urges him to take pity on his children. From the servants of Justinia II. So there in the nutshell is the story of Andraste, which we also heard told through echoes of memory in the first game. But that gives you a quick little refresher in case it's been a while since you played the first game or you never did. But that's of course why all the Templars wear the flaming sword, because Andraste was first burned and then was finally given a quick death with a sword. So here we have Grand Cleric Athena. That's her title. I was trying to remember what it was.
Your grandparents would be so proud of you. When I was a girl, the Amels were one of our most prominent families. I'm glad to have one of their line in the estate again. How can I help you?
What is the Chantry's stance on the Kunari presence here?
Would it help anything for us to get involved? Or is it more likely to light the kindling? If the Canary act against us, the Templars will defend Kirkwall. Otherwise, we guard ourselves best by waiting.
How long have you been Grand Cleric?
I became a lay sister here when I was only a girl. My parents died of fever, and I was taken in by the Chantry. Eventually, I took my vows. After I had served for some time, the revered mothers agreed that I should travel to Orlais. The Divine herself appointed me Grand Cleric of Kirkwall. That was near 30 years ago.
You knew my grandparents?
I dedicated your mother into the Chantry. She was a beautiful baby. Your grandmother was a very proper lady, but she was beside herself that day. And your mother put a fist in my eye.
She sounds like quite the woman.
Are you intending to stay neutral about the Cunarian mages forever?
The Maker's time is not men's time. We do not need to rush. The Chantry is not a domineering father with the whip always in hand. She is a gentle mother who knows her children learn best when allowed to learn themselves.
So she has a pretty balanced stance. She doesn't want to crush either side in the debate here. So in that terms, I think that she and Hawke would probably get along pretty well, since Hawke does not usually have much of a stance in helping one side or the other much either. Anyway, here's Sebastian.
I thought it would end here. That young lady, Hawke, she decimated Flint Company. No survivors. Yet, now that I know who sent them, it's harder to see their deaths as justice.
Death is never justice.
Hawke, we were just talking about you.
Carry on. I love to eavesdrop.
Hawke said sarcastically.
You know, I hate it when you do that.
Hawke muttered in an angry aside to the dwarf.
If, you two have a moment, I've learned who hired Flint Company. The Harrimans, a noble family of Kirkwall. They were my parents' allies. It's hard to believe they betrayed us like this.
Tell me about this family.
Lord Harriman used to be a good man, but he became rather strange in his dotage. He died some years back. His daughter took over the family, Lady Johanne Harriman. They say she's become quite reclusive of late.
Any idea why they turned on you?
Money? Power? It's hard to say. Lady Harriman was always jealous of my family for being royalty when hers were mere nobility. But I can't imagine that pushing her into outright murder.
Is there any peaceful way to resolve this?
If you treat the Harrimans like those mercenaries, you could start a war. Go carefully, Sebastian.
I must speak with Lady Harriman and find out what drove her to this madness. But I am the last of my line. I should not go alone and make myself a target.
If I'm standing beside you, that should make her think twice.
Again, your interest in my plight humbles me. If you like, I can travel with you until you confront Lady Harriman. Otherwise, you can always find me here in the Chantry.
And indeed, we now get to have Sebastian in the party, so he's also a rogue. So I'll replace him with Varric for now. And he is the other bow user. So now we have two. It used to be Hawke was the only one. Unfortunately, that means we will have to share some equipment. But he has some interesting special abilities here that go with the use of his bow, which is kind of cool. For now, though, I'm going to give him just a lot of the basics. Let's see. There we go. That should do him. So let's see if we have... I know I said I wouldn't mess with the equipment, but really quick, I just want to give him, see if he has a better bow than what he has now. Definitely. Okay. Let's quickly get him loaded up with some of the extra equipment that we have here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do his quest immediately, because we can. So we need to go to Hightown.
Your armor is very shiny, Sebastian. Doesn't that make you an easier target?
The light of the Maker is my armor, Meryl. I am not afraid.
Maybe you could ask him to make his light less shiny? Then you wouldn't need as much armor.
Meryl is just not impressed at all with the Chantry's teachings. Excuse me.
I don't wander around Hightown much. I sort of stick out.
Yeah, I can imagine you do, Fenris. Here's the Harriman estate. See if anyone's home.
That's strange. The door's wide open, and not a single guard posted. This is not the Lady Harriman I remember.
Seems a bit too quiet around here.
Very wrong in here.
Yep, I agree.
More! You lazy son of a bitch! What's taking so long?
Flora?
Why does no one in this house care what I want? More wine, or I swear I will drown you in the dregs.
She doesn't even see us. This is no normal wine.
She seems both drunk and delusional at the same time. Okay, this was how a mansion was really organized. It would be really inconvenient to get around. It's so twisty and turny here. Can't go this way. Oh, it's just a barrel. I always get confused in this particular setup as to what goes where. Here we go, this way.
More logs. It must be molten. You, more coins. I want every scrap of gold in this house.
Please, Monsieur!
There's nothing to fear. You'll be beautiful. Pour it over her.
Don't! You'll kill her! He can't hear me.
Perhaps I should be the one.
We must end this madness.
So we're starting to get this theme here. We have a woman downstairs who just wants to drink all the time, and this guy who just wants more and more gold. So I'm sensing maybe a desire demon is around here. Here we have Flora's diary we saw downstairs. First day of Harvestmere. Mother finally began her expansion to the estate today. She brought in 24 men from the Imperium, who I'm sure were slaves, and they've been down excavating the hillside behind the house. The dirt is awful, and the noise. Must they shatter every rock in Kirkwall? It's been quiet since lunch, though, and Mother's behaving very strangely. She's now talking about stopping the expansion, just like that, with no explanation. She never tells me anything. Yeah, that certainly doesn't sound ominous. Oh, got some specialized armor here. Let's see. Better belt. And is that armor good for us? Oh, that's probably specialized armor for one of our companions, actually. Oh, okay. Well, I forgot to take a look at it. But one of our companions, I think, just got better armor. In any case. What do I want? I want Dex, Cunning, and Magic Resistance, because that's what demons use. And let's do some more assassin stuff. We haven't been really building that up lately. Precision striking.
I visited this house often as a child. They could not have concealed such goings-on.
Well, maybe it's a lot more recent. I have a chest here. And another page of the diary. 10th day of Harvestmere. Father is behaving so oddly. Today he pinched my buttocks. Just reached around the table, and I can't imagine what would make him do such a thing. And to the servant girls as well. Some of the things he says would truly make a sailor blush. I told the maids to lock up the wine, but it hasn't made any difference so far. I'm going to the Chantry tonight to pray for him. Yeah, that would be really awkward. But again, if there's a desire demon here, I guess we know what effect it's having on the master of the house here. Book on Divine Justinia V, formerly the Reverend Mother Dorothea of Orlais. Divine Justinia V rose to power after the death of Divine Beatrix III in year 934 of the Dragon Age. Oh, so in other words, this year. Little is known of Dorothea's background before she joined the Chantry as an initiate. Within the Grand Cathedral, rivals suggest that her reticence in discussing her past means she's hiding something. Few of her flock, however, can imagine her as anyone other than a gentle mother of obvious faith. So I think this is probably the divine that we're going to be dealing with in the third game. When Beatrix III was felled by a massive stroke, she survived just long enough to put forth Dorothea's name as a candidate for her replacement. Grand clerics from throughout Thedas flocked to Orlais for the Grand Consensus, a private meeting between the heads of all chantries to select the next divine. Yeah, that doesn't sound at all like the College of Cardinals in the Catholic Church, does it? Though ritual demanded the decision be unanimous, also, just like the College of Cardinals, servants attending the consensus whispered of heated debate over Dorothea's suitability. Her, quote, worldly background and demonstrated forgiveness for sinners were held against her. Ultimately, however, the will of Beatrix III prevailed, and Dorothea began her reign as Justinia V. So they were mad at her because she was forgiving sinners? Jeez, that's harsh. Okay, let's see. That is down into the lower depths. I don't want to go there yet. I think we can actually find that suddenly lecherous... how do you say that? Lecherous? There we go. Head of the household around here somewhere. Maybe it's up here. Yeah, I think it's somewhere up here. Or maybe not? Stupid doors. Here we go.
Oh, lower. Lower.
I beg your pardon, Hawke. I did not mean to expose you to such things.
What are they even doing? Alan asked.
No, the feather. Use the feather. Where have you been all my life? Today, I am more than a man. Come, felicitate me.
He has no idea we're here. I've known Ruxton Harriman my whole life. He's a complete prude.
Where's your brother? Let's ask him to join us.
Yep, so there he is. Completely consumed by lust here. And, of course, as you might imagine, if you bring Isabella here, she gets some funny lines.
All set.
Okay, got some rings there. And another diary entry. 11th day of Hastamere, or Harvestmere. Blech. What can be happening? First Father, now Brett. I can't talk to either of them anymore. I don't know what they're drinking, but they are lost in their own little worlds. And Mother doesn't care. Should she even be here? All she talks about is Starkhaven and marrying me off to that idiot Goran Viel. What madness has come over this place? And I like the fact that, like, in every single diary entry, I think, she mentions drink. And then in the end, it turns out she's consumed by wanting to drink and drink, all the time. So that's a nice little detail that they threw in there to those little diary entries. Okay, now we will descend into the places where they were digging, I'm assuming, into the hillside. Starkhaven longbow. This is only the second gift that we found so far. This, of course, will be a gift for Sebastian. And we'll give this to him after this particular quest is over. But there's going to be a whole range of gifts over the next 2 acts that we can give to the companions to either enhance their rivalry or their friendship. Oh, they're all gathered here in one place.
Turn back. There is nothing here for you.
Odd. When we watched you being a drunken ass, you ignored us completely.
You shall not enter.
There are the demons. And of course, yeah, one of them is a desire demon. Fortunately, though, since we have Meryl here, she petrified it, and we killed it before it could do any real damage. I have to say again, I absolutely love the Petrify spell. Just solves so many potential problems.
Demons, temptresses. We must see what greater evil they were protecting.
Okay, everyone got to level up on that one. So, do some of that. Almost have Meryl completely decked out with lightning and earth spells. Ah, good. More magic resistance. We want that for Fenris. Okay. Yep, underground passage. Here we go.
A ruin, so close to Hightown. I remember no such thing.
Well, we've been getting all these indications that there's something strange about this city. And yes, these ruins don't look anything like the ruins of the Tevinter that we've seen above. So this might be something a lot older.
In the shadows!
Hello, Rage Demon.
How about you?
So you see that I now have the Mark of Death here. That's something that assassins get. And whatever enemy you put it onto, you'll get bonuses to basically hit and damage them.
I'll deal with this.
I hate when they chase me around. It's the downside to having a range character. By the way, if you are playing a ranged character, it's really nice to gain or to get pieces of armor that say reduce what is it, hostility or something like that. Basically, the enemies choose their targets based on how threatening you are. So if you can reduce your threat level, they will ignore you, which for a ranged character is very nice. Oh, Revenant. I remember those from the first game. They were really hard. So I'm going to try to get rid of him first. There we go. See what he has. Oh, just money? That's disappointing. More corpses.
How about you?
Let's see. Any other loot around here? Oh man, they just keep coming up from the ground. Oh, one more. Fenris has got him. There's a lot of sunlight coming in from here. You'd think they would have found this cave already. Unless, of course, these holes were made by the excavators. You gotta love convenient dungeon lighting. Okay, room with nothing in it. Fine. Although the phosphorescent ceiling is kind of pretty. I think I've gotten myself turned around. Okay, where am I going? I'm going to the right. Okay. I don't think this dungeon is super long. Let's see, just make it rain here. Let Fenris take care of most of it here. Well, Fenris and Carol, I should say. They're the big damage dealers here. In fact, let's just have Loco join us here. Just for one more ally, while I kind of look around the place. Ah, crap, there's two rage demons. Go away! Thank you. I'll give a potion to poor Sebastian. He's getting wailed on over there. Okay. Oh, nope, one more. There we go. Not a lot of item kind of loot down here. It's mostly just money and junk. Yep, still junk. Oh, well. Ah, maybe in here. Okay, another dagger for Isabella to check out. I do see our target in sight to the upper right of the mini-map there. Oh, I do not want that Reverend near me. No.
Go down!
Oh, good. Meryl just petrified him. Thank goodness.
Most unwise.
I think it's over. Do you think it's over?
No, it's not over yet. Got ourselves a arcane horror to throw spells at us for a bit. Just for a bit. Ooh, the Demon's Gift. Let's see what that is. Before the first blight, there lived an old man and woman. One day, a beautiful stranger came to their house seeking shelter. The old man and woman gave her food to eat and a dowry mattress to sleep on. No, not a dowry, a downy mattress to sleep on. In return, she offered them a golden mirror that would grant 3 wishes. I'm sure this won't go badly. Looking into the mirror, the woman frowned at her wrinkles and gray hair. "I wish I were young again," she said. Suddenly, the face of a lovely maiden stared back at her. The man angrily grabbed the mirror, saying, "You're so shelf seashells by the seashore." Okay, let's try this again. "You're so selfish. You could have given youth to us both. I wish you weren't so stupid." At once, the woman was brilliant beyond measure, and saw her husband had never loved her. He tolerated her only because of her age, and ignorance made his own seem less by comparison. Angry now, the old woman grabbed for the mirror. At the same time, they both said, "I hate you. I wish you got exactly what you deserve." With that, they were back together, both ugly and old, but now knowing exactly how much contempt they had for each other. I like that story. Alright.
That should do it.
Ooh, a superior maul. Oops. First we need to take it. Fenris, do you want a really big hammer? Is it hammer time? Let's see. Sure, it'll be hammer time. I don't really like the way that mauls are designed in this game. They're just comically big. But, you know, stats are stats. It's good. And I'm sure we'll find a decent, great sword to give him eventually. Almost there.